The community of Remington is undergoing dramatic change that's testing its ability to retain its longtime character while opening the doors to a reimagined future.
The change that has come to Remington is somewhat inevitable.
I'm old school. I like all the old ways of Remington, although we do have all the new stuff coming in, and that's fine because it all mixes well together.
What I see coming in is more of a difference in economic status, so that people of a lower economic status and people of a higher economic status will have a cultural rub.
I think we're creating a Remington for a person who does not necessarily live in Remington right now.
But it's a work in progress. People have to be patient and work, we work along with all the developers, and we'll see good things here once it's all finished.
I think maybe the bottom line is if people don't figure out how to survive, they will be ground under a steamroller of progress.
The tension that development and change creates has played out in Remington as much as it does anywhere else, where we have certainly old residents who want to keep things the way they are and new residents who want improved services and improved businesses and things like that. I think that dynamic is also breaks down in Remington because we also have people who have lived their whole lives here and have seen it go through tough times and good times and are excited about the prospect of change.
All change is good.
Remington, a quaint little neighborhood, hidden in the city, lots of row homes, lots of friendly people.
If Remington was a person, it might be a cantankerous old man, but with excitable young children.
I think it's a little bit of everything. Hipster old age.
I think that describing the personality of Remington is really difficult. I would say that it is complex. Very complex.
Remington roughly has an upper, lower, and middle part. The upper reaches of Remington are sort of more influenced by Hopkins and Hamden, where housing prices have been a little more stable for the last couple decades. Middle Remington is where you would say most of Remington lives. It has the largest, the densest housing stock, and is sort of more of the traditional Remington, what people understand as Remington as still that working class neighborhood. And Lower Remington, while preserving much of the same characteristics as Middle Remington, is sort of its own insular unit because they are isolated from the rest of Remington by the train tracks.
There's a couple different housing stocks in the neighborhood. Some of these houses have porches like the ones you're looking at here, which you'll see on Lorraine and on the upper parts of Huntington. And most all the houses had transom windows up top, most of which no longer open, but usually on the exterior and within the house there'd be transom windows to let the air circulate through before air conditioning. And a lot of those have been closed in, so part of the restoration project on some of these houses is to recreate a transom, and sometimes people put in really nice stained glass kind of back in the space where there was pretty nice stained glass.
Remington has every type of small row house you can imagine, from the 2 windows wide, 2-story tall Miles Avenue model to a front porch and 3 stories on 27th Street. Tuxedo Street is one of our great geographic features. It's a little alley-sized street that's only about half a block long that is off, it's an alley street off of an alley that has about 12 houses on it, and it is populated by neighbors who have become friends and friends who have become neighbors.
That is such an awesome little street. Everybody on that street, they're all friends. They do things together. They show movies on the walls down there. And I think they hang out on their steps together.
It's so lively over there. I'm just super envious of Tuxedo Street.
Well, my history in this community dates back to when I was a child.
We are just an open community which trying to work and get our families the best we can.
There's a little stamp of each individual person who's lived here.
To put your feet where so many before you have walked.
That kind of thing sends chills up your spine.
Watch My Town, Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. on CharmTV.
my neighborhood, I see a lot of changes in 14 years. We have a lot of, the housing has changed. When we first moved here, this block was like the Wild Wild West, but now it's like Beverly Hills.
I've been in Remington since 2007. And at that time, I moved into 28th Street. And on my block, 300 block of 28th Street, when we started our renovation, my brother and I bought houses next to each other and renovated them. There were 9 houses on that block that are vacant. Today, there's 1. There was a total of, I think, 50 vacant houses in the neighborhood, and now that number's down to something like 11 or 12.
Remington is totally mixed in with commercial buildings and industrial work, so there's always been this mixed-use quality to the neighborhood.
I'm the operations manager at Baltimore Glass Company. We've been at this location since the 1970s. The company itself is a family-owned business. It was started in 1928 by my grandfather, and we were originally downtown on Pratt Street, but we've been in Remington for a long time now.
One of the great things about Remington is the mix of both long-established businesses and new ventures, and we have what might be the greatest seafood place in Baltimore, Sterling Seafood at 29th and Miles. If it comes out of the ocean and you want it deep fried, you can have it there. There's obviously the Diz, which has been around forever and ever, doing a great job of burgers and beers. But then there's some also really fabulous craftsman institutions in this neighborhood. There's both Sparky Awnings, which makes aluminum awnings like they have been for 50 years. There's Thomas Brown Woodwrights, which does excellent cabinet work. There's upholsterers, printers, car mechanics, painters, and we have garages.
The Diz is like the gathering place for not only people from the neighborhood, but from the surrounding area. And you could come in here as someone who's been here forever, or if you walk in here for the first time, you feel at home. It's like a family here.
In terms of development, right now we have Seawall is the biggest active developer, as far as I know. Has put up Charmingtons and the residence for teachers and nonprofit stuff that's in the old Census building at the corner of Howard and 26th. It's very popular. Parts and Labor came in. The forebear for all of that was Paper Moon, but that's been years now. But Seawall is also doing 3 blocks of stores and housing.
Remington Row is Seawall's new project, which is going to demolish a block of Remington Avenue, which is now occupied by a few vacant businesses and 4 small homes. It will be demolished to build a 5-story mixed-use apartment building with retail and office spaces.
We've been working with the Seawall Corporation for over a year, and they've been showing us different places. They finally found us a lovely, larger building that we have been renovating since September, and we are moving 2 blocks north, 2930 Remington, but we wanted to stay in the area because so much of our life has been here, and our employees are here, and a lot of our customers can find us.
And on the 2800 block of Remington Avenue, Seawall is going to redevelop the Anderson Body Shop there and turn it into a mix of commercial and office spaces.
I think that Seawall Corporation has really taken it into consideration what the neighbors want, how they want things done, what businesses they'd like to see, go in some of these buildings that they're doing, and he's truly concerned about what people want in the area.
I think as far as this Remington community is concerned, moving forward, just by people moving into the area, new people, and the old people who are still here, have been here for a while, they're fixing up their homes. Everyone is fixing up all of Remington, and the businesses and restaurants are, coming to the area because of that, and because there's going to be a lot more people and just new growth and development. And I think that you'll see a new life in Remington. It's just going to be a wonderful community once everything is done.
Remington has sort of the ideal infrastructure for a modern neighborhood in that we have dense, diverse housing stock. So if you are young and you need a small house, we have Miles Avenue. If you have a family and you need a larger house, we have Huntington Avenue. And I think that combined with having so many both retail stores and sort of places where people actually just work in so close to where people live, it is it's perfect. It's the community of the future.
This is a microcosm of a lot of things that are happening other places.
I think that if we do a good job in Remington, we can serve as a model for how to change responsibly, but also how to be a good community.
When I look to the future of Remington, I just see it turning into a wonderful kind of pedestrian type neighborhood. There's a lot of new renovations. There's new restaurants, and I think a lot of people are coming into the area that have never lived here before, so we're breathing new life into the community that way. And I just see it developing and flourishing.
I just see it getting better. I'm happy with the way it is, but I don't think a lot of the changes are going to be for the better.
When I walk around in Remington, I see the Baltimore I've always wanted to live in. I see people hanging out on their stoops. I see people engaging with each other. I see the best parts of our city in this neighborhood.
For more information on Baltimore neighborhoods and full episodes of My Town, go to www.charmtv.tv.